All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're taking a quick and fascinating tour through the huge world of pharmacology, the science of how drugs actually work. And we're going to start with a question that, honestly, feels a little bit like magic. You ever stop and think about that? You take a pill for a headache, and somehow it figures out how to get to your head and not, say, your left pinky toe. How does it do that? It feels like magic, doesn't it? Well, it's not magic, it's pharmacology, and we're about to pull back the curtain. So, every good tour needs a map, right? Well, here's ours. Now I know it might just look like a table of contents from a textbook, but I want you to think of it as our itinerary. You can see we've got everything: the basic rules of the road, a tour through our body's systems, and even how we fight off invaders. Our first stop? Right there at the top, general pharmacology.
Okay, first stop on the tour. Before we go anywhere crazy, we've got to learn the rules of the road. In pharmacology, that's general pharmacology. These are the absolute fundamentals that explain how pretty much every single drug interacts with our bodies.
All right, here's our first big, fancy word for the day: pharmacokinetics. I know it sounds a little intimidating, but trust me, the idea is super simple. It's the study of what your body does to the drug. It's basically the story of the drug's journey from the second it enters your body to the second it leaves. And that journey? It happens in 4 key steps. First up is absorption. That's the drug getting into your system. Next is distribution, where it hitches a ride in your bloodstream to get where it needs to go. Third is metabolism, where your body, usually your liver, starts to break it down. And finally, there's excretion, which is exactly what it sounds like: your body clearing it out. Absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion. It's so important, pharmacologists just call it ADME. That's the entire life cycle.
Okay, so if pharmacokinetics was all about the drug's journey, what happens when it finally arrives at its destination? Well, that's the other side of the coin. That's pharmacodynamics. This is the good part. It's what the drug actually does to your body. This is the whole point, right? The effect, the action, the reason you took the pill in the first place.
All right, now that we've got the basics down, the rules of the road, we can get to the really scenic part of the tour. We're diving deep into our internal landscape to see how drugs are made to work with all the different systems inside of us. And believe me, the landscape inside our bodies is just incredible. We're talking about drugs that work on the autonomic nervous system. You know, the stuff that runs on autopilot, like your breathing and heartbeat. Then you've got drugs for your heart, your brain, your hormones. Each system is its own unique world for pharmacology to navigate. And this isn't just some boring science lecture, right? This is real-world stuff you probably know. Think about it. Blood pressure pills are carefully tweaking the cardiovascular system. An asthma inhaler is targeting the respiratory system to open up your airways. Each of these drugs is like a super specialized tool designed to make a very precise adjustment to our own biological machinery. But pharmacology isn't just about keeping our own machinery running smoothly. A huge part of it is about defending the castle, fighting off threats that come from the outside. And when it comes to fighting, you need different strategies for different enemies. On one hand, you've got your antimicrobial drugs, like antibiotics. Their mission is pretty straightforward: seek and destroy foreign invaders like bacteria. But then, you have anti-cancer drugs, and that's a whole different ballgame. Their job is to hunt down our own cells that have gone rogue. It's an incredibly complex challenge. So, just to give you a sense of the sheer scale of what we're talking about here, remember that map we started with? All in all, it covers 16 major topics. 16. That's like 16 different continents of drug science we could explore. The field is just massive. Which brings us to the final, and maybe the most exciting stop on our tour today. Looking ahead, what's next on the road for pharmacology? Seriously, this is what gets scientists so excited. The last chapter on our map isn't an ending at all. It's just called New Drugs. How cool is that? It's this built-in promise that the map is never really finished. It's always being redrawn, always expanding, as we discover new ways to treat diseases. The journey is far from over. And that process, that exploration, is happening right now, in labs all over the world. So I'll leave you with this to think about. With all these brilliant people working on what's next, what big human ailment do you think we're going to conquer next?